Well, I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes about what we're doing in the UK and what Jisc in particular is doing about university presses and university publishing. So just a bit of background in I think some of the unique things about the UK, which may be a bit different to what others are finding. I think generally speaking, we've got quite a sort of strong government policy about research assessment, both with sort of every 6 years ref, where many academics are submitted for assessment by panels from the main government funders, which includes their research outputs and impact and other metrics. The next ref in 2021, will probably be 2021, will include a requirement to have all your articles open access, which obviously is quite a driver. Our main funder for research grants, RCUK, Research Councils UK, also have requirements for open access. So a lot of the work around repositories and open access and that sort of area is currently driven by conforming to those policies, so supplying data to funders and recording metadata around that. So it's got a slightly different edge there. Some of our traditional university presses, if you want to call them that, perhaps compared to some other countries, have almost are more similar to commercial publishers. Cambridge and Oxford University Press, without wanting to single them out, so you can't single out two different presses, can you? Perhaps I've over the time are more at arm's length to the university and are almost separate organisations. Well, we are seeing at the moment quite a surge in new university presses being set up, and we've kind of coined this term, well, perhaps we haven't coined, but we are using the term new university presses to, and I'll come on to more to that in a second. UCL is quite a high-profile example where they've a strong open access emphasis. The UCL press was taken back in-house and organised and driven down from the library. The Right Rose Consortium, which is 3 universities close by to each other, roughly in the north, Sheffield, Leeds and York, which already had a sort of strong partnership, have just set up a shared press between them, which is, again, a strong open access element, also a sort of a focus on textbooks as well, which seems to be another sort of trend coming along. And I mentioned Huddersfield, who have got a fairly small press around monographs. They are quite interesting in the way that they've justified it, is they're saying, well, these books we're publishing for our academics, they're able to submit to the ref because they managed to publish these books, and the money that brings back into the university more than offsets the cost of running the press. So they've done some work there in trying to help. One of the key questions is about sustainability and business models and costs and how you justify the expense, which is an expense, of running a local university press. Last month, in March, there was a conference in Liverpool run by the University of Liverpool called the University Press Redux. Again, I think it was showing the kind of quite a lot of interest at the moment around this area, and I think sort of since last summer about 5 new university presses have been launched. Moving on to Jisc, I think many people have heard of Jisc, but in the last few years we've perhaps changed our focus a bit. We're more focused on, we're less focused on funding lots of different initiatives, more focused on building and developing new services which higher education and similar in the UK can benefit from. So a couple of things that have come out in the last couple of years. The first was some work we did a couple of years ago called the National Monograph Strategy. We worked closely with various stakeholders, librarians, publishers, academics, and various other people to try and draw together what the critical issues were around monographs and how we could address those. And secondly, there was just launched this year a 5-year study with Open and Jisc looking at open access monographs, and that came out with quite a lot of conclusions and recommendations in this area. So specifically, the National Monograph Strategy Roadmap suggested that Jisc in particular develop a shared publishing platform to help with new innovation in this area and to help lower the barrier of entry. And we sort of fully acknowledge that technology isn't the big issue around setting up a university press, but it's felt that that could be something which would be helpful in facilitating universities in developing presses in this area. So we're interested in new university presses and academic-led presses. By new university presses, we're meaning those which are mostly OA, those which are closely linked to the university, closely linked to the library. The word lean often comes around. They're perhaps doing less things than a traditional publisher. Those things they're doing with fewer resources and doing in a more leaner way. Some talk about not cutting out things like marketing. Others still have a role for that, but perhaps in a more reduced capacity. And the other area that really interests us is academic-led presses. So hopefully most people have heard of Open Library of Humanities, where it's got quite a unique business model where libraries will contribute to the running of the press while it's free for academics to publish, it's free for, it's open access for those to access. So it seems to be that academics are doing quite a lot of quite interesting innovation in the area of new ways around peer review, new models for publishing and business models, and we really want to help them to do that by again reducing those sort of barriers about if they have an idea, how can they get technology in place to help them with that. So the current work in this area is we're currently looking at the state of play, especially within the UK, about what universities are interested in, what universities are doing what. We know that many are looking at setting up a university press or have set up a university press, but we really need to know those numbers. What are they doing? How? What are their policies? What are their concerns? For those who have not or are thinking about this, what are their plans? What do they want? What do they need? And what are their aspirations, which may be a bit different to their plans? What would they like to see in the future? Where would they like to go, should they have the power to do so? And the key thing for us is what are the gaps? What can they not do easily at the moment? There's no point us recreating what's already out there in the market. What could we be doing? What's a bit unique in this space? We're working with a group of universities called the Northern Collaboration and some academics in Coventry in carrying out a study in that area, and we'll be reporting those findings in the late summer, maybe early autumn, once we have holidays. So the key thing is we use that information to work out where the demand is and what people want and what they need, and look at whether we can provide some sort of analogy. We also want to say, well, well, let's think about the future. Are there new innovation here? Can we support new business models, new types of formats beyond the PDF? Can we look at new ways of disseminating this information, looking at that sort of the whole idea of reproducible science and bringing in data and other components into the research output process? We don't get a strong demand from that at the moment, certainly when we're talking informally to librarians and those we've spoken to, but we are quite interested in that area, and we're hoping that we may be able to incorporate some of those ideas into something we develop. So that was my slides. Thank you very much.